Have you ever thought of how lucky we are? Not a wow, I just found a $20 bill in my pants kind of lucky, but really lucky. Lucky to be alive lucky. Famed paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould said once that humans are here today because our particular line never fractured. Never once at any of the billion points that could have erased us from history. Pretty wild thought, right? Let's take a look way back in our complicated history just to see how lucky we are. Earth has been around a really long time, give or take 4.5 billion years. To put it in perspective, let's take that 4.5 billion years and line that up with a 24-hour day. At about 4 a.m., life shows up in the form of single-celled organisms. But that's too early. Let's fast forward to the age of dinosaurs, about 11 p.m. Nope, still too early. About the age of mammals. Okay, 11:39 p.m. Humans come walking in on their two legs fashionably late at only 1 minute and 17 seconds before midnight. Whoa, that's it? In the grand scheme of things, we haven't been around very long, have we? Yeah, we're highly evolved beings, you say. We're the dominant species, you say. Okay, sure. But do you know what makes us so lucky right now? We haven't gone extinct yet. You're probably asking yourself, did he say yet? Oh yeah, I said yet. If the planet's history has taught us anything, it's that there's a constant that life on Earth deals with periodically: extinction. The Earth has seen 5 major extinctions in its existence. The Ordovician, about 440 million years ago, Devonian, 365 million years ago, Triassic, 210 million years ago, and the well-known Cretaceous extinction, 65 million years ago, when the dinosaurs went extinct. But the real whopper of an extinction that most people don't talk about happened way back during the Permian, about 245 million years ago. During that extinction, at least 95% of the animals known from fossil record were wiped out, never to return. There were a few smaller scale extinctions that took place, like the Hemphillian extinction that happened about 5 million years ago, where all but one horse species and a few grazing animals were spared. Can you imagine life without cows or horses? It would be a much different world. You might be wondering about how science figured out a way to determine all this information without the aid of history books or Instagram to document exactly what's going on. Well, that's the interesting part. These are all just observations of the fossil data that we were presented with. What do I mean by that? Let's just say that, for example, I wanted to know what oxygen levels were like hundreds of millions of years ago. Impossible, you say? Well, because of our friends, the geochemists, and their ability to read the amount of carbon or oxygen in the shells of tiny organisms called foraminifera that were deposited on ancient seafloors millions of years ago, we were able to make it possible. See, when their shells were formed, they pulled out oxygen and carbon dioxide from their surroundings, and because of that, we can take very accurate data of what the conditions were like way back then. So what about the conditions that made our prehistoric ancestors the lucky ones to survive? Well, as we all know, the dinosaurs went extinct during the Cretaceous era about 65 million years ago, when about 90% of land animals were wiped out. Of those survivors, the majority of them were small, warm-blooded, nocturnal animals who were very cautious by nature. It was a hostile world and our ancestors knew how to survive. It also helped that they had a flexible diet that didn't consist of only plants or animals. Millions of years of evolutionary trial and error along with those mini extinction events, and we're still around. Lucky that during the entirety of Earth's tumultuous existence, our evolutionary line was never broken. I'd say we are very lucky indeed. So enjoy your mocha frappa llama bougie drink, and while you're at it, take a selfie with it. You only live once, and millions of years from now, the next dominant species could be checking out your Instagram to try and figure out why we were the way we were. Cheers, friends.
Created using Powtoon.